Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here. Thursday, July 10th, about 13 days away from getting out on that practice field with Jacksonville Jaguars for training camp. Excited to do that, obviously. ESPN, as y'all know, season of lists, rankings, all that good stuff. ESPN put together offseason report cards for every single team in the NFL, and this was actually put together by ESPN's Seth Walder, one-man job. So big undertaking to grade every single team's offseason in a single article, and Seth Walder is an analytics guy, so that's something to keep in mind. The analytics of it all is going to play a big role in his grades for teams, and I'll go ahead and not bury the lead here. He did not like the Jaguars offseason very much. The Jaguars finished around 27th, I think, if I've counted here correctly, in terms of NFL offseasons. Gave the Jaguars a C grade. Only team to receive a lower grade was actually the Falcons at C- and the Saints at a D. So two teams in the NFC South receiving the two worst grades in the NFL, and also the Panthers getting a C. So Seth Walder really did not like the NFC South, but Jaguars getting a C. We're going to dive into this report card, if you will, here today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out our newest pre-order, our Cool Cats Club tee, available at genjag.com/shop. So, Jacksonville Jaguars, they get a C grade, as I mentioned. Biggest move, according to Seth Walder and according to the entire world, including myself, trading up to draft wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter. Move Seth Walder liked, I guess, the most. Signing offensive lineman Patrick McCary. Move Seth Walder disliked. Signing wide receiver De'Ami Brown for 1 year, $10 million. Let's just take a look at, he writes a good bit here, so let's just dive into it. Jacksonville bungled its regime change to start the offseason, firing Doug Peterson, but only retaining general manager Trent Baalke. The latter seemed to be impotent for finding a new head coach, but once Jacksonville fired Baalke, it was able to land Liam Cohen, who shined as the Buccaneers' offensive coordinator in 2024 and is a coach who could potentially provide a schematic advantage. So, yeah, there's no questioning that Shad Khan, it appeared, once again was going to, as Walder writes, bungle the offseason and do another half measure. That's not what ended up happening. I don't know if we're docking points for the process. I think that Trent Baalke's influence on Shad Khan has been a big part of the process issues for the Jaguars. But let's be clear, Shad Khan's issues finding football people, general managers, and coaches, that has existed long before Trent Baalke entered the picture. So I think it's fair to criticize him a little bit for that. But the bottom line is the Jaguars did land Liam Cohen, who, Seth Walder writes, shined as the Buccaneers' offensive coordinator in 2024. Absolutely, he did. He's also has heavy influences from Sean McVay. He also did a tremendous job with Will Levis in college, getting him drafted as highly as he did. And then Walder also writes, he's a coach who could potentially provide a schematic advantage. Yeah, absolutely. So you go from a coach in Doug Peterson, who his offense was one of the worst in the league schematically over the last couple years, to somebody who could be a plus in the schematic side of things. And then next paragraph, we've got new Jaguars general manager James Gladstone wasted little time making a big move, dealing picks number 5, 36, 126, and a 2026 first rounder for the number 2 selection, along with picks number 104 and 200. They used the pick on Hunter. The trade was an overpay, with Jacksonville giving up a quarterback level premium to make the move. Again, this is the analytics side of things for Seth Walder, just plain and simple, saying, it's not worth it to go move up for a player unless they're a quarterback. But he also says Hunter is the most justifiable non-quarterback to prompt such a move because of his potential to be a high-end wide receiver and cornerback. but I would not have made this move, which demonstrated a level of overconfidence in the evaluation process that usually does not pay off. The Jaguars mitigated the value damage of the Hunter trade with a nice trade down with the Lions on day 2. They absolutely did. So the analytics community strongly believes you don't make a big trade up unless it's for a potential franchise quarterback. They also generally think that confidence, or in this case, Walder believes overconfidence in your individual evaluation process is a mistake, right? So the Jaguars obviously had a lot of confidence in the Travis Hunter situation, in him as a player, a person, as a draft prospect, as someone who they're going to spend a ton of capital on to bring into their building. It's just something that's going to be wait and see between the analytics community and the football people. I fall somewhere in between. Like, I do believe in some analytics. I generally do think you don't trade up for a non-quarterback unless the situation is really perfect. Like the Texans, what they did a couple years ago with Stroud and Anderson, I was in favor of that. I'm usually not super high on doing things like that, but with the Jaguar situation, it's unprecedented. We'll see if it works out, but it's unprecedented. I don't think that you can sit here and compare trading up for Travis Hunter to any other trade up throughout history and, outside of quarterback. And Walder put it plainly, it's the most justifiable non-quarterback to prompt such a move. And he is, absolutely. He plays 2 premium positions. He's an elite worker. He's obsessed with football. He's an unbelievable athlete and skilled football player at both spots. He's the type of player that you can build around. And it's not like the Jaguars didn't already have some players that they could build around as well. Some guys that have been here for a few years. Moving on to some offseason moves that Seth Walder breaks down. The Jaguars made several other moves I did not love. So to be clear, Seth Walder not in favor of the Jaguars landing Travis Hunter for what they landed him for. I think that's a dangerous place to be. I would not bet against Travis Hunter. I would not. But we'll see. The Jaguars made several other moves I did not love, writes Walder. Before drafting Hunter, they traded Christian Kirk to the Texans, then signed Brown to a one-year $10 million deal. So I guess this is to suggest that Seth Walder doesn't like moving on from Kirk and signing Brown. He says, I'm very skeptical of Brown, who recorded 229 receiving yards in 3 playoff games last season, but amassed only 784 receiving yards total over his 4-year career. There's a big chance that the playoffs were an outlier. Jacksonville later cut Gabe Davis. So I guess having an entire paragraph about wide receiver 3 is interesting. And being down on wide receiver 3, who has shown the type of ability he has, again, to me, this analysis doesn't talk about football at all. It talks about stats. Not even advanced stats, just stats. Counting stats. Box score stats. I don't know how you view De'Ami Brown as a wide receiver 3 as a bad option, honestly. In this offense specifically. The Jaguars believe they can get more out of him from a route diversity standpoint than the Commanders did last year. But De'Ami Brown's role with the Commanders is a perfect fit for the Jaguars because he was utilized heavily in the screen game. Even before the postseason, he was utilized heavily in the screen game. And he was utilized heavily on vertical routes. That's exactly what the Jaguars could use. Right? And Liam Cohen is a great screen game coach. I don't know if cutting Gabe Davis was a move that Walder didn't like or not, but it is included in the paragraph about making several other moves he did not love. I don't know what issue you would have with moving on from Gabe Davis. Walder continues, the Jaguars also gave Jordan Lewis a 3-year deal that averages $10 million per year. Lewis is coming off a nice season, but that's quite costly for a 30-year-old slot cornerback who has an average of 1 yards per coverage snap over the past 4 seasons per NFL's Next Gen Stats. So, Jordan Lewis, among these older veteran free agent signings that the Jaguars made this offseason, was by far my favorite. By far. I think that putting this average yards per coverage snap on slot players is a silly thing to do, right? Because of the fact that playing the slot, your numbers are not going to be as good. You are going to be more heavily targeted than the outside corners. You're in a less advantageous situation. I've talked about this a lot. Outside corners have the benefit of the boundary, of the out of bounds line, right? Nickel corners, they are faced with the potential of a 3-way route every single time. You can have an out-breaking route, you can have an in-breaking route, and you can have a vertical route, right? And that's not like there's only 3 routes you can be faced with, but there's the entire route tree is wide open every single play when you're playing nickel. So it's a more difficult position, and stats bear that out. Like nickel cornerbacks, their numbers are not as impressive as outside corners. Bottom line, Jordan Lewis has been a high effort, high output, good nickel for a long time in this league, and he also has shown the ability throughout his career to fill in outside if he needs to do that. You have already seen him pay dividends on the practice field, and I think that he's going to continue to do that into the regular season, and he's a leader. I would defiantly defend the Jordan Lewis move. I loved that move. The Jaguars, writes Seth Walder, also signed Robert Hainsey to replace retiring center Mitch Morse. That was a move I did not love. To me, Robert Hainsey is a replacement level starting center. And signed safety Eric Murray to replace Andre Sisco. Again, a replacement level starter. Those are 2 moves, I agree, that I did not really like for the Jaguars. Really the only 2 moves that I wish the Jaguars kind of were more aggressive at those spots, honestly. I mentioned yesterday, I wish the Jaguars were a little bit more aggressive as well with the free agent depth edge rushers, and then with the I wish they added one more young piece at interior defensive line. But one move I was a big fan of, writes Walder, was signing Patrick McCary to a 3-year deal that averages $12.5 million per year. McCary is a versatile lineman with experience at center, guard, and tackle, and had a 95% pass block win rate at guard last season, which ranked 5th best at the position. Yeah, so I've been on record as well. I liked the McCary signing a lot. I'm right there with him on this one. You get the versatility. You get what I think is a quality starter interior offensive lineman. I think that you can put him in that category and feel good about him in your starting lineup, whether it's at guard or center, and you can even flex him out to tackle if you have to. He's done that plenty throughout his career. He's still in the prime of his career. So I think that was a good signing. Giving the Jaguars a C, I think it essentially hinges around Seth Walder not being in favor of trading up for Travis Hunter. I think that's where we're at. A lot of football heads would be in big time favor of trading up for the most talented player in the draft who can play both sides of the ball. I'm in favor of it. I said at the time I probably would not have executed that deal because I would have felt confidence in my ability to build out a more complete team. Like, you can bet your bottom dollar if I had the free agency period that the Jaguars had and I did not trade up from 5, I would have been addressing interior defensive line, edge, safety, and several other positions, interior offensive line throughout the draft. Like, I would have been able to address more of the needs than the Jaguars did in the draft. But I honestly think they made the right decision. I think I would have been wrong. I think they would have been right. And I immediately said that upon the move happening because I think being able to land such a valuable piece in Travis Hunter, I I think it was brilliant. It was something I couldn't have conceived, but it was brilliant. I think James Gladstone is smarter than I am by a wide margin. And I think that maybe he knows what he's doing, right? It is his first time as a GM. I've been critical of the plan at safety and center. Other than that, I think they did a great job putting this roster together. I really do. And now, Robert Hainsey, has he shown the ability to be a quality starter in the league? Yes. Eric Murray has done the same. I think more often than not, when you have watched them play, they've been replacement level starters. But that's where we're at. I think the Jaguars had a much better offseason than a C. I think landing Travis Hunter was a win in a big way. I actually think the De'Ami Brown signing was a win. I really like the Jordan Lewis deal and Patrick McCary. So we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one. And again, the analytics side of Seth Walder is just not in favor of De'Ami Brown being signed for $10 million for 1 year deal because he hasn't had a ton of production throughout his career. And he's not in favor of trading up for a non-quarterback. So that's where you have this grade from Seth Walder. I gave the Jaguars like a B+, but the bottom line is, if Liam Cohen is who we think he is as an offensive coach and can continue being that while being a head coach, this is going to be an A+ offseason because you have unlocked a new ceiling, right? The Jaguars' ceiling was severely capped by Doug Peterson and by Trent Baalke. If these two, Liam Cohen and James Gladstone, are just able to unlock a new potential ceiling based on Liam Cohen's culture and obviously his offensive prowess and James Gladstone's willingness to be aggressive, then it's an A+. Right? That's where I'm at. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe as we've got them. The dang focus issues keep coming back. Anyways, again, if you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.